Hello, my name is Michelle Long, and I am doing a voice recording for the brief that I have been assigned. I have been assigned a case brief for Parate versus Isibor 868, and the case brief that has been given to us needs essential information and elements included when the case brief is prepared, and that is to know information such as facts, who, what, where, when, where, and what is the case about. It needs also information about procedural posture. What is at stake for the court issuing the opinion? Also issues, what is in the dispute? The holding, the applied rule of law, such as under these facts, with this law, this result judgment is, and then there is rationale, the court's explanation for the holding. Also, your conclusion as to relevance, kind of what is the takeaway? How is it related to when you're going to be working in higher education, and what kind of things can you take away from this brief in terms of what you've learned from this and how you can apply that to your position. The facts of the case are, before I give you the facts, the parties involved in the case are plaintiff Natu S. Parate, and he goes by the name Parate, and the defendants versus Edward I. Isibor, individually in his official capacity as Dean of the School of Engineering and Technology at Tennessee State University, and also Michael Samuchin, individually and in his official capacity as head of the Civil Engineering Department, Tennessee State University, and the Board of Regents of the State University and the Community College System of Tennessee. So basically what the facts of the case are is the plaintiff, Natu Parate, and we're just going to call him Parate, is a native of India, and he was a professor in the Civil Engineering Department at Tennessee State University, which we're going to abbreviate as TSU, for the 1982-83 academic year. Parate received a Bachelor of Engineering degree from a university in India, and then a master's degree from a university in England, and a doctorate degree from a university in France. He was appointed tenure subject to renewal on an annual basis. Parate taught a course, and it was called Groundwater and Seepage, and he told his class about his grading criteria in the beginning of the semester. After distributing his final grades to the class, one of his students in the class had requested a grade change. But because the student cheated on the final examination, and this student presented plagiarized answers and also presented false medical excuses when given in terms of his absences, Parate declined, and he did not agree that the student's grade should be changed. Samuchin, who is the head of the Civil Engineering Department, agreed with Parate in the decision to not change his grade. The student applied for an appeal. Parate met with Malkaney, and he agreed with Parate's decision to change the grade. Isibor asked to meet with Parate and told him he had to change the grade, and told Parate that he had to sign a memo changing his grading system, so his grade of 86 would actually reflect an A. Parate refused to do this, and Isibor insulted and berated him and threatened to not renew his contract. Samuchin then met with Parate the next day with a memo for Parate to sign, stating that he agreed to change the grade and his grading system. In the memo he wrote, "As per instructions from Dean and Department Head at meeting." Samuchin gave him a new memo to sign without Parate's instruction and said, "If you don't sign this, it will mess up your evaluation." Parate agreed to sign it, but with a different signature than his first one. Samuchin and Isibor recommended that Parate not be renewed a contract. TSU's president sent Parate a letter stating his tenure would not be renewed. Isibor said if Parate's performance improved, he would consider renewing the contract. In Parate's statics class, Isibor and Samuchin followed Parate into his class and interrupted the class during roll call. They sat in the back of the room and they gave him directives how to teach his class, and then criticized him in front of his students. Isibor told Parate that some of his students were more intelligent than him and that his salary could be stopped at any time. Isibor removed Parate as an instructor and told him to attend class as a student. After 5 class sessions, Isibor removed Parate from the class, told him not to attend any more classes. Parate was never reinstated as instructor. For procedural posture, on April 4, 1986, Parate brought a civil action lawsuit against the defendants for violating his right to academic freedom under the First Amendment and his liberty and due process under the 14th Amendment. He also alleged state law claims for defamation, interference with his property right to work, retaliatory discharge, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Parate sought preliminary injunctive relief and an award of damages. He filed a motion for a preliminary injunction, but the district court denied his motion. The defendants filed a motion for summary judgment, and their motion was referred to a magistrate. The magistrate granted the summary judgment and filed a report and recommendation. Then Parate filed objections to this report. The district court dismissed Parate's claims that the defendant violated his First Amendment rights from his grading incident, academic freedom, and classroom incident. He claimed a violation of the 14th Amendment right of due process for unreasonably terminating his employment with prejudice. In addition, the district court dismissed his pendent state claims without prejudice and granted the defendants' motions for summary judgment. Parate filed an appeal that the district court erred in dismissing his First Amendment, 14th Amendment rights and denying his application for a preliminary injunction. The issues that are involved, and there are 3 of them that I would like to focus on in this case brief, and the first one has to do with academic freedom. A professor is free to decide what grades to assign his or her students. A professor should not be forced to change a grade since the assignment of that grade is protected speech. The fact that Parate was ordered to change the grade by the defendants violates his First Amendment right of academic freedom. In addition, the second issue I would like to focus on is the academic freedom in terms of the classroom incident. The district court's conclusion that the defendant's behavior, although it was unprofessional, did not rise to the level of constitutional violation, did not violate Parate's First Amendment rights to academic freedom. And then the third issue has to do with him not being reappointed. The district court dismissed Parate's claim and found that Parate was justifiably terminated. The university has the right to determine whether or not tenure or reappointment of a contract will be established. In addition, Parate has failed to prove a substantial due process violation under the Wilkerson standards. However, Parate had filed to demonstrate that the defendants brought false charges against him that might seriously damage his standing and association in his community, or that impose a stigma or other disability that prevents him from securing other employment. The analysis is that the holding basically states the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals actually reversed the district court's dismissing Parate's claims of First Amendment from the grading incident and affirms the judgment of the district court dismissing Parate's First Amendment claims resulting from the classroom incident, remands to determine damages whether Parate was discharged due to exercise of his First Amendment rights to academic freedom, and dismissed his 14th Amendment claims and then denied his application for preliminary injunction. The rationale was that the term academic freedom means both the freedom of the academy to pursue its end without interference from the government and the freedom of the individual teacher to pursue his ends without interference from the academy. And these two freedoms sometimes are in conflict. The defendants had ordered Parate to change the grade, which gives rise to a constitutional violation. If the defendants had changed the student's grade on their own, then Parate's First Amendment rights would not be an issue. Parate's First Amendment right to academic freedom was violated by the defendants since they ordered Parate to change the student's grade. When the defendants removed Parate from the statics class, no constitutional violation occurred since it did not prevent him from securing other employment. Now, the relevance is basically a professor retains wide discretion in the evaluation of the academic performance of his or her students based on his or her professional judgment. If a student is unhappy with his or her grade, the students preserve the right to appeal the grade. If the instructor does not feel the grade should be changed, the instructor's superior should honor that decision. If a student feels as though they can just get his or her grade changed by the dean, this sends a message that the professor's decision is fruitless, places the professor in a difficult position, and can damage his or her credibility as a professional. Thank you.